Okay, welcome back. So, A Quiet Place Part 2. I'll get straight into it. A Quiet Place Part 2 is absolutely packed with tension, exactly where it's needed, which is, of course, largely due to the quietness of the production. It's quite a unique element, isn't it, though? I mean, not many movies are almost completely silent for long periods these days. Everything is too noisy, screeching vehicles whizzing about, and even screechier people sometimes. This is what gives A Quiet Place its appeal, is just the sheer silence. Added to that is also how the characters have to sort of creep around and not make a single rustle or a scrape. It's so intense. It's almost like the UK trying to decide on a new prime minister. If you've seen part one, you'll no doubt recall the moment Blunt's character gives birth in a bathtub in almost absolute silence. Intense. So you're daunted by that kind of similar atmosphere in part two as well. Although nobody gives birth in a bath, there are quite a few brilliant moments of, will they or won't they be heard by the aliens? And yeah, you cannot deny this movie, both part one and part two, has really squeezed the juice out of its unique concept, and the very minimal casting gives it that sort of extra novelty. John Krasinski is just brilliant. He delivers some amazing moments that keep the movie on its toes. He's so come a long way since The Office, hasn't he? That sort of he was always like doing that at the camera, wasn't he? Sort of indifferent, nice guy who remains distant from what's happening around him. But now he's hench and rugged and powerful, and he looks great with a beard. He in A Quiet Place Part 2, he makes the smallest fingers on lips gesture one of the most enthralling moments in the movie because of how taut and wide-eyed his facial expressions are as the aliens prowl around. This is shown in the grocery store scene where a handful of people are sort of hiding behind the counter and behind partitions, and he's doing this. Brilliant. And and naturally, there's obviously that one fucktard who, even though they're surrounded by sort of polished, gleaming wood and surfaces, and there's not a speck of dust around, they're like, Achoo! Or sort, it's so shit, isn't it? Those movies where people are trying to be silent and they just, for no reason, just cough. They didn't quite have a cough before. They just cough, so they're kind of like, oh no, did you hear me? Yes, they fucking heard you. So yeah, you've got like that sort of that atmos in this installment of the film. The youngsters, Marcus, played by Noah Jupe, and Regan, played by Millicent Simmons, are sublime. They are absolutely fantastic. I think some young actors don't quite cut it. They seem a bit pretentious, but these two are just fantastic. They literally lead both of the films with a performance that's so genuine. It's hard to tell if it's the character in. I think in Millicent Simmons' case, it's hard to tell if it's her character or the actual woman herself who's sort of guiding the other actors through the production on sign language and stuff. I don't know what this is. Is this my interpretation of sign language? Possibly. Perhaps that means tent. I don't know. Yeah, she's fantastic, and I love the way they incorporate the whole sign language aspect into it as well. So it's quite sensitive at the same time as being extremely horrific. Now, Noah Jupe, his character Marcus, during one scene where Emily Blunt's character, the mother, is sort of guiding them towards something. I'm going to try not to ruin it for you, but she's guiding the kids towards salvation, I suppose. Marcus steps in a bear trap, and fucking hell, it just go the moment it does it goes snap, and the kid is like, fuck. It's so convincing, the screaming and the hysteria, like, that's shown on his face as the metal claws sort of sink into his leg. it is superbly acted, and of course, the mother's like got her hand clasped over his gob, and she's like, you know, she doesn't say it, but she's like, I love you. I understand, but shut the fuck up, and sort of thing. It is just brilliant. So yeah, I mean, he's brilliant. And I was sat in the cinema. I was literally sat in my seat, like, oh my god, I didn't know what I was screaming. Like, well, not screaming, but you know, sort of hushed screaming. I didn't know what I was reacting to more. The fact that he was just fucked in this bear trap, or the fact that the aliens were on their way. It was, yeah, I've got no words for it. I literally can't describe it. The intensity during the scene is beyond incredible. So yeah, I suggest keep your eyes peeled during the entire film, because there are some bits that you just don't want to miss. The best part about part 2 is you actually get to witness a strange event that, at the beginning of the film, which actually explains how and why all of this shit hit the fan in the first place. So yeah, it's quite a normal scene where all families and kids are all together at some sort of outdoor fete, and then something happens which makes you think, right, okay, so that's why, you know, that's why the aliens are here and doing what they're doing, sort of thing. Yeah, very brief but very engaging scene. Don't do anything. Don't pick up your phone. Don't send that WhatsApp. Don't even eat, because I know how fucking annoying that is. I mean, even I've done it. I've tried to watch something on Netflix, and I just looked down for a split second, cut me broccoli, and I've looked up and I've missed something. So yeah, eyes peeled. Just keep watching. Brilliant. Yeah, I think the scene, one of the beginning scenes, is so high octane that when it's so when what happens again, trying not to give it away. When it happens, it's so high octane when the shit hits the fan. The characters they're darting about all over the place. It's like some sort of psycho console game where you're. I'm not versed. I'm not down with the kids on console games, but you know, one of the console games where it's a POV and there's sort of like little characters darting about everywhere, and I think you're a gun basically. You're just sort of doing that. It's like that. This scene, it's almost hilarious. So yeah, you've got like it just explodes. It just erupts in absolute carnage, and there's people all over the place, and it's very very fast, which is quite a contradiction, because the rest of the movie, although tense, is very very bloody quiet. Yeah, so the techie bits are quite decent too. You've got the mission to reach an abandoned radio station so as to transmit signals. Regan's hearing aid becomes transformed into a weapon, and yeah, she utilizes it against the aliens and what have you. So yeah, yeah, this is good. This is a good film. I don't think I have many negatives to say about it. If you dislike very, very quiet footage or films, you will hate it. I really don't know. To be honest, it was a brilliant way to round up the whole franchise. Well, I say whole, the 2 franchise. Yeah, very tense, very gripping, and God, the bear trap, very, very painful. End of review. That's it. Right, what's next? Cruella. Great. Thanks for watching, guys, and end of review.